Oh no.
What is
What are they
what's their plan?
doing?
What's their
Insanity.
plan?
I don't think they have a plan.
All right, we're gonna talk a little bit about
Jason Momoa.
Aquaman 2. All right.
Which I would like to point out,
Mm-hmm.
if you will give me 1 second.
Okay.
The first Aquaman came out in 2018.
Okay.
Wow.
2018. Okay.
Also, the first Aquaman is apparently the best performing DC movie ever.
Yes.
Wow.
That is why.
2018.
Go ahead.
It's been
5 years.
5 years.
Yes.
And other movies have come out with sequels during this time.
Yes. And COVID was in between these two.
Yeah,
movies.
I mean, you can't still be using COVID as an excuse.
Not right
COVID
now.
this
and
point.
Amber Heard was between.
Okay, yeah, you know what, Amber,
That's
I
two
forgot
big
about
controversies.
Yeah, that was another big controversy. Yeah, so there's no hype for this anymore.
So listen, this is the hype is non-existent, which is a big problem because they've dumped over $200 million that we know of into this movie. Now, if they are expecting to get $1 billion like the first one did, then sure. But there's no. I think we have Blue Beetle and Flash, especially Flash, because it was anticipated. It was a big moment, and it was a really the college try. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it did not do well.
Mm-mm.
Blue Beetle, a little bit smaller. They didn't really give it the college try, and it really hardcore flopped. The latest two DC movies just are big failures.
And what came before those two?
Black Adam.
Black Adam, both of which failed at the box office. Nothing has made its money back. The Flash was the only thing in recent years that have even come close, and it only made $260 million. The movie cost more than that to make.
Yeah, no, it's considered a failure, 100%. This costs comparable to what they've spent on the Flash. And do we honestly think that Aquaman 2 is going to get people in theaters? Does Jason Momoa hold the water, no pun intended, that he once did to get people?
That pun was intended.
To get people.
Just say pun intended.
Pun intended, sure, but it wasn't until literally microseconds before I said it.
Just say it. You don't have to say no pun intended.
All right. Does Jason Momoa hold water the way he once did to get people into theaters, right?
No.
He doesn't. Not anymore.
No. Probably not.
We've seen him too often. How well did Fast and Furious do with him as the villain? It did well, but it did comparable to what Fast and Furious normally does.
Yeah.
Did more people show up for that one because Jason Momoa was in it?
No, because people like the Fast and the Furious movies.
But probably not a lot.
So, with all that said, and I'm not going to read through these big articles. I'm just referencing to show you that the world is mentioning this, okay? Warner Bros. Quest to build a better Aquaman sequel, 3 reshoots, 2 Batmans, and non-stop test screening.
So the reshoots make sense. Every single movie that has come out from DC or Marvel recently has had to have multiple reshoots and push.
This one has had. I think this one is unprecedented to how much has been reshot. So 3 reshoots, and the last one was in June.
So, but more importantly, what the 2 Batmans? What's that part about?
I'm not really sure. I think there was hopes for DC to bring in Michael Keaton as kind of like a Nick Fury character for DC. Okay. And obviously you have the Ben Affleck Batman who constantly shows up. I know IMDb has Ben Affleck on the cast list, but not Michael Keaton.
But also at the end of The Flash, they showed George Clooney.
Right. But he's not. I don't see George Clooney on the cast list for Aquaman.
So it's probably Affleck.
It's Affleck. He's on the cast list. But they were also like, it wasn't really James Gunn. it was like some other executives were like, we want a Nick Fury character. It would be awesome if Michael Keaton, as the Batman that we saw in The Flash, could be kind of like a selling point, as well as kind of like this older, wise character, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't think that's going to happen,
I don't
especially
think
not in
that's gonna
James
work.
Gunn's DC. But the nonstop test screenings, they've had multiple test screenings. All of them have not done well. All of them have been disliked, okay?
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
There's zero excitement around this movie. Now, if I show you this last paragraph on this other article I found was interesting because this is them, I guess, hoping against hope. So sources told THR that the latest round of reshoots, referring to June, might have finally gotten all the film's ducks or stingrays or whatever in a row.
Ducks are aquatic as well.
Right.
Semi-aquatic, just like Aquaman, so ducks works.
Right. Gunn and Safran, approved 5 days of reshoots for director James Wan, starring Jason Momoa and Patrick Wilson. Apparently, Wan got what he wanted after day 4, and now it's back to the edit bay and video effects minds. Aquaman, the Lost Kingdom is set to be his last film of the DCEU's Ancien? What is that word? I don't know.
I have never seen that word before.
Interesting word. Anyway, we'll look past it. Yeah, and then this is the last DCU basically before the James Gunn Superman legacy in 2025.
Old. Former. Yeah.
The as he put it, Elseworld, right?
Yeah.
So, with all that said, the test screenings are not going well. The reshoots are expensive, and all for what is the question that I'm posing to
I still I'm having trouble getting past the fact that the writer of the article went they think they've gotten all their ducks in a row or stingrays or whatever.
Ducks works.
Are aquatic. They're semi-aquatic. They're the same as Aquaman. They're semi-aquatic.
Right.
What?
Why you hating on ducks?
Stupid.
It's a turn of phrase.
They were like, I guess ducks don't work because they're not really water animals.
Well, I don't know who wrote that article, but it don't matter.
No.
Look, this
do matter.
I know we've had so many Hollywood failures and so many DC failures, but how on earth do the creators and the director just keep trudging forward when we all know this is dead on arrival?
Yeah. It's please watch my movie.
We keep spending money to try to make it work, but it's not gonna.
They're still just coming out with all these superhero movies, and we're tired of superheroes.
People are done with it.
We're done. The only thing maybe I would get on.
We're not entirely done
Batman
with
superheroes.
Look, we're not entirely done with superheroes. We're done with this vibe.
Look,
all right?
Here's the thing. Every decade has had its thing. The cowboy movies lasted a while. The gangster movies lasted a while. Action, heavy action. There was action sci-fi, 90s comedies, 2000s rom-coms, and
how's Hallmark doing? Is Hallmark still?
Hallmark's still kicking. Hallmark's Hallmark been going. And then the superheroes. And to be honest, we've the superhero genre has lasted longer than a lot of those other genres have.
And it's coming to a close.
I think we are setting into a new era. I think the next one's
sci-fi,
large sci-fi fantasy is what people are looking.
Things like Dune and Creator, like we talked about last week.
But that can get boring easy.
It can, and it may not.
You gotta have a lot of fresh ideas. And Star Wars is not it.
It may not last as long as the as the superhero genre,
superhero.
but we're in kind of the perfect place to make legitimate sci-fi, and I think people realize this with Blade Runner and with Dune, is that large scale sci-fi can be done and people are interested in it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's kind of what we're gonna, because sci-fi has been kind of just hanging around for a little while.
Yeah.
You get your occasional Elysium or
Well,
Blade Runner.
sci-fi recently has been. What are you giggling about, Joshua?
I'm just imagining sci-fi and Beetlejuice just being like, or not Beetlejuice. He'd be like, I don't know, just hanging around.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What are you
Beetlejuice.
doing? Nothing. Just hanging around.
Hanging around.
Look,
That's sci-fi over in the
That's
corner.
sci-fi. That's been sci-fi the last 25 years.
I would say
I don't
sci-fi
know.
has been
Hanging around.
almost probably the past 20 years has been defined primarily by Star Wars and Star Trek.
Star Trek, yeah.
Now,
So
that's not all
epic,
sci-fi.
epic. This is what I'm thinking. Epic sci-fi is going to be the new thing
Look,
because
people are more excited for
it's
Rebel
been-
Moon
it's
than
been
they are Star
adventure
Wars.
sci-fi. It's been adventure sci-fi for so long. Star
Yeah.
Wars established adventure sci-fi. It's going to be dramatic epic sci-fi will be the next phase.
I think
Probably.
it will only. Yes, I agree with that, but I think it will only last 4 to 5 years. I don't think it's going to be.
No,
like
I think
long.
I think it'll be 10 years of movies that we get that were made for about there was like 4 or 5 years where people were making them, but we're going to get them over the course of the next 10-ish years.
Let's think about it. We're already started. We keep saying it's next, but we've already kind of started it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we've already said no to Star Trek and Star Wars and saying yes to Dune. You know what I mean?
Yes to
Saying,
Dune.
yes, Dad. Yes,
Yes
Daddy.
to Rebel Moon. Yes
That's
to
what we're
the
saying.
creator.
Yes.
People are
So we're
saying
already
yes.
saying it. We're already excited. We're already amidst it because
Did you say yes, Daddy?
I did say yes, Daddy.
Yes,
It
Daddy.
was a stretch, though. It was a stretch.
2, but yes, Daddy toward the sci-fi epics that we're talking about. And like I was saying, Rebel Moon is a not Star Wars, but Star Wars inspired because Zack Snyder didn't do a Star Wars movie. They didn't give him one. So people are more excited about Rebel Moon than they are the next Star Wars, like Ahsoka. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or whatever movie they have on the ticket. So yeah, you're right. Sci-fi is going to have its day in the sun. I would say probably somewhere between 5 and 10 years. So I'm kind of in between with you guys.
Yeah.
Predictions.
And I kind of thought it was going to be I thought for a while it was going to be Game of Thrones level fantasy. But
I would love
like
a fantasy.
Netflix killed it.
Yeah,
Netflix destroyed it.
Netflix tried to do too much. Amazon Prime tried to do too much. They all tried to make these different high fantasy things to get the age of high fantasy started.
They're doing fantasy drama. I don't want to see fantasy drama as much as
I do.
I mean, I do want to see a little bit of that.
Drama.
I want the stuff Netflix is doing is too dramatized. Like Game of Thrones, I can handle because it's good, but or House of the Dragon, but it's too.
What about things like Highlander? That was very successful in a niche group. But Highlander is very drama. It's not a whole lot.
I think the issue is that they are taking these shows, and we've talked about it a million times before, but like with Wheel of Time, and just turning it into something nobody wants to watch. Right. Everybody, Game of Thrones proved people like high fantasy, people like drama and political stuff, and nobody cares about any of the other BS that you want to put into a show. That's why Rings of Power got slammed. It's why Wheel of Time got slammed. It's why The Witcher got slammed, because they just kept adding stuff from our world into the fantasy world.
Yeah, and we don't mention this enough. We were given a very clear case study gift with House of the Dragon and Rings of Power coming out basically at the same time. Okay, and nobody watched Rings of Power, and everybody loved House of the Dragon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a case study. It shows you what Wyatt's pointing out here. We still love fantasy, but it has to be good, and it can't be filled with BS and destroying the source material. You know?
I mean, the Batman. How many people watched the Batman compared to this new Aquaman or Blue Beetle?
Yeah, no, people liked the Batman. People wanted to see something cool.
I mean, we can't just do another Batman though, because they've done like 50
they will.
Batman at this point.
The superhero genre will come to a close, but we will always get Batman, Superman, Spider-Man. And maybe every once in a while we might get something really cool, and maybe somebody will make a good Blade movie, or somebody will make a good Daredevil movie,
or a good Craven Hunter, maybe. Probably not this one.
Yeah, it's just the characters that people really like. So
you also left out Joker. Joker,
yeah. People, there's specific things that people like. It's like Batman, dark and cool. Daredevil, dark and cool. Superman, kind of like justice and freedom. Spider-Man, web slinging, fun loving. Also can be story driven and dramatic. All of these Blade, dark, cool.
Wolverine.
Wolverine.
We always have Wolverine.
Everybody. These are the characters everybody loves to watch on screen,
and we like variety with these characters as well.
And we will always get stuff like that. Even after the superhero genre has died. It's like the cowboy thing. It's like the cowboy genre. How we got cowboy movies for years. We still get good cowboy movies. So,
overall,
once in a while, there's bad cowboy movies. Actually, there's a lot of bad cowboy movies. That
Nicolas Cage one that
but every once in a while you get a good cowboy movie, and even though cowboy movies have been dead for decades,
right. So overall, with Aquaman, what would you recommend in a couple sentences? How does Hollywood keep their chin up, if you will?
It don't abandon all hope.
Abandon ship
here. Yeah,
so you think ship. You think they're kind of like, okay, well, it's still going to be a failure, but we'll at least maybe make 100 million or 150 million. So
they're going to have to put it
cover our costs, but we'll at least get some money from it. You know what I mean?
Have to get some out of it.
They'll get a couple million.
They can't get zero out of it.
Yeah, well, they'll get a couple million. They won't. They won't break even on this movie.
I doubt it.
They won't break even.
Once they actually have something ready, they're probably going to market the crap out of this.
And I doubt that they will. If they don't break even, they won't say it. They'll be like, "No, we made
tons of money.
We definitely broke even." No, you didn't. Stop lying.